What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's topic, let's take a second. Hit that like button to support the channel and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss breaking Cowboys news, off-season updates, and in-depth analysis. All right, let's talk about a major change that's about to shake up the Cowboys' offensive line in a way we haven't seen in over a decade. Zach Martin, one of the greatest offensive linemen in franchise history, has retired. This move has massive implications for the Cowboys moving forward. Who's going to fill that hole at right guard? How will this affect the offense, the run game, and even Dak Prescott's protection? And is Brock Hoffman really the answer? Let's break it all down. Even before Zach Martin officially announced his retirement, there were rumors and concerns about whether he'd be back in a Cowboys uniform for another season. Why? Injuries. Martin's season-ending ankle injury last year raised questions about whether he'd still be able to play at an elite level. Contract uncertainty. His contract situation meant the Cowboys would have had to decide whether to bring him back or move on. 3. Age and wear. After 11 dominant years in the NFL, Martin had taken a beating. Retiring now allows him to leave on his own terms rather than risk a decline. Regardless of the reason, Martin is gone, and the Cowboys have to move forward. With Martin retiring, the Cowboys have a big decision to make at right guard. And right now, the in-house favorite to take over the job is Brock Hoffman. Now, if you're not too familiar with Hoffman, let's rewind a bit. Hoffman went undrafted in 2022, but fought his way onto the Cowboys roster. Last season, when Martin went down with an injury, Hoffman stepped in, and the offense actually improved. That's right. Even though the Cowboys were missing their all-pro guard, Hoffman held his own. That's why his farewell message to Martin was so special. Here's what he said. "Thank you for all you've done for me and for showing me and everyone that has been a Dallas Cowboys what being a true pro is." That's the kind of respect Martin commanded, not just for his play on the field, but for the way he mentored younger players behind the scenes. Hoffman knows the responsibility he's about to take on. He even acknowledged it last season when he stepped in for Martin, saying, "I'm just going to do everything I can to honor that position because being the right guard for the Dallas Cowboys, Martin has been the anchor of the O-line for over a decade now. So is Hoffman ready to step up? Maybe, but the Cowboys could decide to bring in more competition. Hoffman might be the favorite to replace Martin right now, but that could change in the coming months. Why? Because the Cowboys hold the 12th overall pick in the NFL draft, and there are a couple of elite offensive linemen they could target. Will Campbell, LSU, Kelvin Banks, Texas. Both of these guys are projected first-round talents, and if the Cowboys decide they need a true long-term replacement for Martin, they might use their top pick to get one. The front office will have to decide, do they trust Hoffman, or do they bring in a young, high-upside lineman? Either way, replacing a legend like Zach Martin isn't going to be easy. Now, let's talk about what losing Zach Martin actually means for the Cowboys this season. For years, Zach Martin opened holes in the offensive line for guys like Ezekiel Elliott in both of his stints with Dallas, DeMarco Murray back in his prime, Tony Pollard when he had his breakout season. Without Martin, running lanes could be a lot smaller for guys like Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn, and in a worst-case scenario, defenses could start blowing up the backfield before the running back even gets a chance to make a move. That's bad news for a team that already struggled to establish a dominant run game last season. Jerry Jones. And the Cowboys' front office already had a lot to handle this offseason. They need to figure out Dak Prescott's contract extension. They need to decide whether to extend CeeDee Lamb. They need to build a defense that can finally hold up in the playoffs. Now, they also have to replace a Hall of Fame guard. And let's be real, finding elite offensive linemen is not easy. It's going to take a premium draft pick or a major free agent signing to truly fill Martin's shoes. Let's not forget what this means for Dak Prescott. Without Martin protecting him, Prescott could see a lot more pressure up the middle. If the Cowboys don't fix this situation fast, Prescott could be dealing with more sacks, more rushed throws, more turnovers, and considering his recent injury history, any extra pressure on the offensive line is a disaster waiting to happen. Dallas cannot afford to let this situation get out of control. Zach Martin's retirement is a huge loss for the Dallas Cowboys. There's no replacing a future Hall of Famer overnight, but the Cowboys have options. They can trust Brock Hoffman and see if he can hold down the right guard spot. 2. They can draft a top offensive lineman to secure the position long term. They can explore free agency or trade options to find a proven veteran. What they can't do is sit back and hope for the best. If they want to compete for a Super Bowl in 2025, they need to address this problem now. The good news for the Cowboys, this year's running back draft class is absolutely loaded. At the top, you've got Boise State's Ashton Jeanty, a complete three-down back with breakaway speed and vision that has scouts buzzing. He's the best of the bunch and will likely be the first RB off the board. But after him, the talent is still incredible. Caleb Johnson, Iowa, a powerful downhill runner with great balance and toughness. Omarion Hampton, North Carolina, a versatile playmaker with the ability to impact the game as a receiver and a runner. Tre'Veyon Henderson, Ohio State, a home run hitter who brings elite explosiveness to any offense. If the Cowboys don't land Jeanty, any of these guys could still be a major weapon in Dallas. And based on recent mock drafts, they could all be available when the Cowboys go on the clock in round 2. Cowboys draft strategy, is RB a priority in round 2? A lot of fans are wondering, will the Cowboys draft a running back early, or will they wait? Kyle Krabs, a respected draft analyst and scout, recently released a mock draft that painted an interesting picture of how things could shake out. In his scenario, Ashton Jeanty gets taken at number 6 overall by the Las Vegas Raiders. The next RB isn't picked until number 52 when the Denver Broncos select Caleb Johnson. Omarion Hampton goes at number 54 to the Chargers. Tre'Veyon Henderson is picked at number 62. That means when the Cowboys are on the clock at pick 44, they could have the best running back still available. Sounds perfect, right? Not so fast. According to Krabs' mock draft, Dallas actually passes on a running back in the second round. Instead, they take Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle from Oregon. At first, that might seem like a surprise, but think about it. Dallas has major needs on the defensive line. If they can grab an elite interior pass rusher at pick 44, that could be too good to pass up. It also speaks to the depth of this draft class. Great running backs will still be available in rounds 3 and 4. So what should the Cowboys do? Should they grab a running back early, or wait and take the best player available? Let's look at both sides. If the Cowboys want an immediate impact player at running back, they need to strike early. This offense needs a true RB1. Pollard is likely gone, and Dowdle is solid, but not a workhorse. Dak Prescott needs balance. A strong run game takes pressure off the passing attack. The top RBs could be gone by round 3. If Dallas waits too long, they could miss out on a difference maker. If Hampton, Henderson, or Johnson is still on the board at pick 44, taking one of them could be the best move for the offense. But there's another side to this debate. Some fans believe running back isn't a round 2 priority, and they might have a point. Elite running backs can be found later in the draft. Look at guys like Isaiah Pacheco, 7th round, Alvin Kamara, 3rd round, or even Tony Pollard, 4th round. Other positions are bigger needs. Defensive tackle, offensive line, and even linebacker could be bigger priorities. Jerry Jones could look to free agency. The Cowboys might sign a veteran RB instead of relying on a rookie. If Dallas prioritizes defense in round 2, they could still find value at RB later. Now we want to hear from you. Should the Cowboys trust Brock Hoffman at right guard? Should they use their first-round pick on an offensive lineman? How much will Zach Martin's retirement hurt the team this season? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. And before you go, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Cowboys news, rumors, and in-depth analysis. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!